Alright, so in this video I'm going to go over just the functionality of making or joining an event. I know some of the other videos kind of focused on stuff that wasn't strictly functionality. That was kind of a conscious thing. I just want everyone to basically know the edges of the website, what we do, generally, like just stuff like we have a blog, we need a contact us section, just general stuff like that. But now I'm kind of getting into the, straight up functionality. So, in terms of work efforts, these are basically volunteering events, right? So these are the things that I do to get sponsored, to raise money, and again, they can be anything, right? At this point, when I'm going to create a work effort, right? So at this point, when I create a work effort, it's public. Everyone at my chapter, right, the University of Michigan, and only that chapter, can register for this event if they so choose. Right. The thing is, I have to fill out all these boxes, right? And it kind of makes it a bit of a chore. Not so much of a chore if I'm like organizing a run or something big, But if it's going to be like 3 people and I do this weekly, it'd kind of be a pain. So one of the things that we're trying to do is enable ongoing events, so I don't have to do this every single week. I could just say yeah, and then for the date I could do like that date and that date and that date and that date, all the way down. But whatever. Start time and end time, these are important because they have to do with how many hours worked, right? So this will say that I have added 1 hour worked, right? Add description. I don't think we always need a description, right? Example event. Cool. Event name, Luke's practice event. Cool. So, got all that stuff, and we need to choose a picture. I don't think we always need to choose a picture. Again, this stuff was kind of made with the idea that everyone in the chapter is going to be doing this one event. That's just kind of not really how it works out. People are busy. It's hard to get the whole chapter to do one thing in terms of interest, scheduling conflicts. So what we're trying to do is make it more a way of allowing people to log their own volunteer service. So, maybe 2 or 3 of our, like for example, I do adaptive gymnastics, and I think 2 or 3 other people may be joining me doing that, right? But, if I'm making an event, basically I would have to do this every single time, and I'd have to choose a picture, and basically the calendar could get cluttered if this really takes off, and just basically there are holes with this. So what we're trying to do is be able to make private events, invitation events, right? So like for specific people, and what was last? Oh yeah, ongoing events. So like I said, for the date, I have to pick one date. I like to be able to have it ongoing, like, oh yes, every Friday, because that's how a lot of my hospital volunteering goes. Every Monday from 10 to 2 I do hospital volunteering for a whole semester. So anyway, I'm the head of the organization, and I don't log those events so much, in part because I think I talked about this already, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but if I show up there, right, and then other people see this event and they're like, oh crap, I'd like to do hospital volunteering, I'll go hang out with Luke during that time. I could add it in the description saying, no, I'm sorry, this is like a one-person thing. This is really, just for me. Then, I could do that, but I don't know if they would really read the description that closely. So basically what I'm saying is there are certain times and certain volunteering events where they need to be like private. Like I can log them and I can have them on my calendar, right? And the hours get logged, but everyone in the chapter does not need to see them, and they really shouldn't see them. So yeah, hope that makes sense. Oh yeah. So notice how there's like 0 hours worked and $0 raised. These are goals. Again, this is a better idea for like a really big event. Like I'm pretty sure this system was made for relatively few but large events. We're trying to go into a lot of smaller events with not the entire club going, but like a faction of the club. Like they could be a group of regulars who go to adaptive gymnastics. There could be a group of regulars who go to a soup kitchen, whatever. So yeah, this is going to be an area of change, and I'll probably make a video and I'll make this little sheet giving all the changes for that, but I just want to give you guys an idea of where we're trying to go. So this is the event page, right? I can cancel my attendance if I want to, but I'm not going to. Recent activities, loop and joined, and if we go back to my profile, you will see that it should be, yep, it's added right here. I did this whatever. Oh yeah. There we go. Luke's practice event. I made that like 2 seconds ago. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, sorry. I did this one other time, but I made this video one other time, but it was really long. So I'm doing it again, but faster to save you guys time. So yeah, this is the one that I just made, right? And you can see it's right here. It kind of like past work efforts and recent activity. Those are pretty much the same thing as our work efforts. I don't know why we have this 3 different times, but whatever. Also, so when the time comes that, when July 15th happens at 9 o'clock, my hours worked should, be, ticked up, so I should have like 37 hours worked. See what I mean? There is the issue of like honesty and reporting. Someone could say, "Oh, I did all these hours and blah blah blah." That's kind of on me. I kind of have to figure out how to do that logistically with chapter leaders and stuff. But I think generally the honor system is pretty good. I mean, if they're doing charity work in the first place, I don't think they're gonna lie about it. But it is something to consider because money is involved. But that's on me. Basically, the point that I was trying to make, which I got distracted from, is that John, the guy who does the website currently, I know that he has to add the if I get another donation, he has to physically tick up the amount of money that raised. I'm not sure if he has to do it with hours, but I would think he does. So that should be automatic. Like when July 15th at 9 o'clock rolls around, my 36 hours worked should be ticked up to 37 hours worked for this semester. Cool. So that is how to create a work effort. Now I want to join a work effort, right? So one thing that's kind of fishy is that you can join past work efforts. That's okay if it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot, I forgot to register on the website, but I'm here, is there any way that I can get my hours logged? That's something that they would talk to with the chapter president, and then the chapter president, who has, special privileges, would probably add them after it happens. If that's a pain in the butt to do, whatever, it doesn't have to happen. Just make people, get in the habit of logging their hours better. So, it's just something that kind of could be nice. But as it exists right now, see, this already happened. Well, this already happened, but I can still join the work effort, right? That's not, that shouldn't be the case. If I'm worried about people artificially logging hours, this is the first thing that needs to go. So any old member shouldn't be able to join the work effort. It is okay, again, if it's doable for a chapter president to say, yes, Julie was at this effort, at this work effort, so she can have those 4 hours. So, yeah. You'll notice that this is on a nice calendar. Trying to make this, or sync this at least with a Google Calendar, right? So at this point, this calendar is just like in isolation. But yeah, we're trying to make it so that, like when you have Google Calendar, you can add a separate calendar. One of those separate calendars would be Work for Food, volunteer events calendar, right? And so then they could see that on the Google Calendar. They could set up alerts and stuff like that. We're also thinking of doing alerts, sending people emails about, an upcoming event, because a lot of people just forget. It sounds stupid, but it happens. So yeah, we're trying to get rid of this calendar and instead put it on the Google Calendar. The thing is, we would also have to have a way of maintaining this whole, I can click on this and then I can join the work effort thing, and I don't know how that would work with Google Calendar. That'd kind of be up to you guys. But there would have to be some way for these things to be displayed on Google Calendar, and then they can also sign up for it, after seeing it on Google Calendar. Last thing, I make an event, right? All the people, right, I think I already said all the people in my chapter can see it, but people in other chapters can't see it. So like someone in San Francisco, that chapter, San Diego, sorry. that person really wouldn't care about all of our events, right? It would just be confusing, the calendar would get cluttered, and there'd be a whole bunch of events states away that they can't go to. So each person has their own calendar. Accordingly, when we do the Google Calendar switch off, which again I'm not 100% sure that we can do, but we talked about it before, like before you guys came on, and it seemed like this was definitely something that could happen. So like this is their calendar, right? So there should be separate calendars for separate chapters. As you can see, they don't really use the calendar, in part because it is kind of isolated, right? And because it's kind of a pain to make the event. So yeah, that is basically setting up events. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions.